When there's more to be said,
or something worth repeating,
you can hear it all.
right here in our
Familiar
territory.
My name is Grant.
And I'm Brantley. Heads up, spoilers on the way. Check the description, see if you're safe to listen. You know what? Salt and vinegar chips are like a chemical weapon.
This is a terrible way to start an episode.
What? I can't give a hot take?
God damn it.
Listen, I don't know what these bitches put in these things, but they hurt and they hurt good. I think I'm getting back onto salt and vinegar chips. Hi, we're here for some extra content.
Hello. So today we are going to take a look at all the shows we've seen for our podcast this year, and we're going to put them into category. Or we're going to make a tier list. Now you might be looking at this and thinking, "Wow, this doesn't look like the tier list that you find on the tierlistmaker.com." Because that one sucks.
We're gonna throw shade at tier maker, because we tried to use it, and you can only set it up through your Twitter, and I did not like what they were going to be able to do with that, and so, nope, just not gonna. So we cooked something up in Adobe Illustrator instead.
And, boy, were there a lot of pink-haired girls that we watched this year.
Yeah, if you took, like, an Adobe cooler of, like, all of the images here and, like, tried to make, like, a color palette out of it, it would just pink. It'd be 4 pinks and 1 brown.
I really like that you have all these anime girls and a couple boys, and you have fucking Cubic sitting down there. So
Cubix is a hero.
So we started this podcast.
Cubix being right there. Cubix is a load-bearing icon.
So when we started this podcast, it was sort of near the end of when I was no longer being quarantined. I ended up going back to work, but the idea for this podcast came during quarantine when we watched all of Gamers and stayed up till 6 a.m. talking about Gamers, and so.
Gamer's a TV anime, and it has
yes.
It has an exclamation mark on the end of it, or
yeah.
2. Doesn't matter. Don't watch that show.
And we thought, man, we have been talking about this show for hours every night. Let's just record it. So we have watched in the past year almost 3 days worth of anime on just this podcast alone. And so we have a lot to talk about these shows. Kind of a look back. It has been about 8 months since we started this podcast. We have over 24 hours of content. And it seems like a lot more than what I kind of realized we were doing. So it's kind of nice.
If you just want to have a really bad fucking day, you just put on our playlist. And then we set.
Hell
you know, when you just you feel bad and you just want to go worse. And you got like that one song where it just makes you so just like aggravated, and you just punching your pillow. Hopefully our podcast can bring that experience to you. Or maybe you just enjoy listening to us and hearing our opinions. I don't know which one is better at this state of the world. So
this is kind of our cap off of our personal season 1? 2?
1. We are 24 episodes in, covering 20 different shows. And so if you were to split this into like 12 episode seasons, I guess we could call this season 2.
Okay, yeah, so it's our end of our season 2. So we are going to be taking a look at some of the shows we watched, and we're gonna rank them, give some arbitrary awards, talk shit about the shows we hated, and talk about the shows we liked. So
all of these people looking at me, these icons, is giving me performance anxiety so fucking hard.
Nagy thinks you killed someone, Brantley.
No, he wouldn't. He'd believe in me.
Oh, yeah. Nagy doesn't think anyone kills anyone until he's ready to have them executed. Yeah. So he thinks that you killed someone.
Mm-hmm. And then he speaks bullets at them and gets them killed.
All right. So I guess we'll start at the top.
Yeah, let's just do this literally in the same order that we reviewed these shows. So left and down, and then right and down, and down and down.
So Battle Girl High School was the first one we watched. It was kind of the one that got me thinking, oh my god, this show is atrociously bad. It is sloppy, it is boring, it is a ton of fucking work just to watch a show. And this is the one that I was the most excited for Brantley to watch. Mm-hmm. I kind of want to finish it eventually. I think one of the things that we should talk about is that there are a couple shows that we have on here that we watched before we decided to go straight into full review mode. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they might be something we need to revisit later. But for now, let's just talk about Battle Girl High School Episode 1. Do you remember anything from the show?
I was going to say I remember the monsters, but I don't actually. I just remember there were monsters. I remember someone having like a weird looking axe, and they kind of slammed down on one, I think.
Yeah.
There's 16 of them.
Yeah. Do you remember the part where they had 18-year-olds fight 12-year-olds?
Oh god, that did happen. Yeah, I remember they did like internal combat.
Yeah, it is, as far as I know, terrible.
They have like a big character reveal at the end of the first episode, and I thought it was the same main character again, like a double of her or something, but it wasn't. So it just wasn't a surprise because we didn't have context for who that character was. So it just
she was that show's wild. That show's wildly just a mess. Mm-hmm. Is it good? No. I can't think of. I honestly can't think of one positive thing to say about
the way you said, "Is it good?" No, is the same kind of climax the first episode has.
There's that
who
part...
is it? Somebody. You'll figure it out later.
I mean, the character reveal is stalking the main character throughout the entire episode, and you think it's going to be some interesting thing, and it's not. There's a dedicated around 7 to 8 minutes of the first episode where the characters are talking about the clubs they are in, and the show's only 12 episodes. I can't imagine it getting any better.
Yeah. How do you feel?
I can't think of anything good to say about this. I honestly want to put it in F because
because I can't honestly give it any praises.
Yeah.
So we're gonna put you in F for right now. Battle Girl High School.
The weapon designs can be fun, but that's not enough to save it.
Mm-hmm.
Milky Homes, baby.
I forgot.
I always forget we watched this show. Mm-hmm. Because my knowledge of Milky Homes did not grow from watching an episode, from being exposed to the memes of the early 2000s that featured Milky Homes.
Yeah. Well, correct yourself on that, because didn't Milky Homes the anime air in 2010?
What? There's no fucking way that I saw the first. There's no fucking way that I saw the first.
Double check me on this. Was it 2006 maybe?
Okay.
Look this up for me. We need to find out.
Holy shit. The first anime was October and December 2010.
Yeah, see? It bothers me because I don't think it was, because it feels like something that we would have seen floating around on YouTube around the 06, 07 era, but it's not.
It's not. How the fuck did this come out when I was 16, 15 years old? This show seems like it came out when I was 9, and I saw it when I started going on Meme Base.
Well, for us, it's like that window of time. The 2000s is like, it's just a compressed time where it's like you have, like, here's Naruto getting an anime a few years into the 2000s, but like it had its manga in the late 90s, like in 99. Yeah. But then you have like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, which had an anime far earlier and a manga far earlier, and then that's coming out in like 2010. And so everything just kind of in the middle is soup, because we're just all still getting into this in the first place.
Wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
Okay, so where does Milky Homes go?
It was fun. I think the characters are fun. It did say a slur though.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not
saying
in the Japanese version they like bleeped it, and then the sub just put it in. So it's kind of like
the show's
there's just a bunch of other issues with it, like the underage villain character being stacked and having this revealing costume and stuff. So like it goes deep. It's not like oh, they did a one bad thing. This show's it's racy.
It's weirdly self-aware too.
Mm-hmm.
I was not expecting the level of confidence this show has in itself.
I'm gonna swing for C tier. What do you feel like?
That's what I'm gonna see. I think the problematic elements are like pretty bad, but I had fun watching it, and I would much rather finish Milky Homes than finish Battle Girl High School.
Yeah.
For enjoyment. If I'm watching something terrible, I'd rather watch Battle Girl High School.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so this is the one that I think we're going to talk the longest about.
I don't know about that.
It's going to be pretty long. Magical Girl Raising Project literally had me stressed out to watch it. I remember one night I had a bunch of stuff to do because it was before I moved into my new place. And we were watching it, and I dreaded putting it on because I just could not imagine how much worse it was going to get.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, we did get our first comment on this episode. So,
True.
Hell yeah. Raising Project's weird, man. I remember a lot about it. I think I didn't remember how ugly it was. I was looking up the openings to all these shows, and boy, do the characters in this show just scare the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
They have the big dead doll eyes, the giant ass heads.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on Raising Project 7 months later?
I think my thoughts are D tier.
Yeah, okay, because I look at Raising Project, it's competently made.
In some aspects, yeah.
Some of the character powers are cool.
It's a mixed bag, but it's got too much dead weight to not be in like one of the lower territories.
Dead weight, like 98% of the cast.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with having a Battle Royale Magical Girl show. It's just that this show did nothing to make it exciting. It was just dreadfully... It was boring at times, and when something did happen, it was...
This show has no integrity. It doesn't respect its characters. It walks all over their motivations. It rewrites its own rules and simply leaves that up to like, well, this universe is fucked and it's under the hands of a puppet master anyway, so you just have to deal with it. And it has no interest in like building an internal logic.
Mm-hmm.
But it has components there that could work with someone more willing to sit down with it and workshop it.
Absolutely. It also has swim, and that makes it worse.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
Swim is god-awful. It's horrible.
Mm-hmm. Once again, no internal logic on her character, no respect for her character. It's bad. I can see how someone could just digest this as like weeb trash and enjoy it, but I do not have that ability. So D tier it is for me.
I think some of our friends might enjoy it as a trashy kill fest and enjoy not as a art, but as something to pop on and kind of goof on.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't the worst show. I don't think
there's too much stuff that's fucked that you can't totally take it as like a laugh fest. Because at some point it's like, no, and you're just out, you know.
Yeah. It has weirdly likable characters at moments, and it also has very obvious shock moments that you can tell that exists just to piss people off.
Yeah.
And that makes it pretty bad.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. We might argue a little over this one.
I think we're going to argue over this one.
Hutari wa Precure. Or we are pretty cure. My heart says B tier, but my try hard anime critic brain, my big smart otaku brain,
Your
says
wrinkly
C tier.
brain.
Yeah.
I do not have enough exposure to Precure yet. I think once we get a little bit further into our review, we'll be able to talk in depth about some of the stuff. But I have seen one episode of Precure. I liked it, but it kind of reminded me of season 1 of Sailor Moon, season 1 and 2, where there's a lot of stuff but not a lot of substance.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I think like I really groove with episode 1 of Precure. That would be its B tier, but I know for a fact that this show has over 50 episodes. And so it's like I don't see how they could hold that up. They have some shockingly good combat, which doesn't just revolve around like, hey, it's the super move. Like they have some pretty clean animations on like a bicycle kick and they go do like a whirling knuckle and stuff like that. That stuff's cool. But having only seen the first episode, and knowing the competition it's up against right now, I'm gonna give it my sad farewells and suggest C tier.
I think so too. I also think it wasn't as it is better than Milky Homes. I will say that. It's better than Milky Homes, but I don't think it's gonna be B tier.
Yeah.
Cuz
it does have Pissard.
It does have Pissard. You know what? It's not B tier.
B tier. Upgrade.
Oh god, what a good name. Okay. I don't want to talk too much about this next one.
Do you see QB looming in the corner?
I don't know what is left to say about Madoka. It's good. It fits a lot of. It is dark, but not edgy. It's emotional. It has great animation. It has good art. The music's phenomenal. I can't praise Madoka anymore. I mean, all my friends hate me because of how much I talk about this show. I can't not put it in S. I can see why people would argue for A, but it is the one that I think watching again is gonna make you love it even more.
Yeah, I had I liked it. I stepped away from it. I started thinking like, oh, maybe it's just kind of like in that torture porn category. Maybe it's just not that great. What's so great about just going dark? And I mostly sort of forgot about it. Came back and watched it, and I was ready to be very critical of it, and it impressed me. So like, it's like at that rate, yeah, I'm gonna rate it an S. Like it effectively got me the second time, probably better than the first. And I could see the artistry in it better the second time.
I think that show is better the second time. I really do. Mm-hmm. That's not to say you have to watch it twice, but being able to see how well and meticulously planned the entire story is from start to finish, mm-hmm. it really gives the impact of the craft that story has.
Yeah, craft was the word I was going to say, and boy, it's going to make us sound pretentious, but like when we're sitting there, we'll have these realizations of like, oh, look at how the characters are positioned. Look at the furniture in the room. It represents them. Like these are the kind of things that you won't get to see the first time because you're paying attention to the text instead of the subtext. Right. And I love that stuff. This is not like an Evangelion rewatch where it's like, oh, now you know whenever they say AT field, what that's supposed to mean. Like, it's nothing like that. Instead, it's more about like, wow, look at how they're pacing this and how they're threading these things together, things like that.
Yeah. S tier Madoka. All right. Yuki Yuna. This has our most viewed video. Is our full review of Yuki Yuna as a hero review. And someone asked, "Hey, are you gonna watch season 2?" It's on our plan to watch. We have a pretty heavy plan to watch, but Yuki Yuna is one of those shows where I can remember things that I thought fondly of it, but at the same time, I don't know how much I actually like it. I think I like it a little bit more than you do.
In some ways I'm willing to forgive it, but like again, it's a mostly average show, a mostly serviceable show with some hard drops in there. This one's tough for me.
It's tough for me too, because I think about the small part where we have just a bunch of differently abled girls doing good things, and I remember that being fun. I remember being excited that the girl and the girl with the wheelchair, they keep her disability as part of her power. So I thought the way the characters fight are really good. Some of the animation's good. Some of the visual effects are good. But then I think about the weirdly over-sexual tones with specifically one character.
You know what this show is? It for every one good thing it has, it also has one bad thing that matches it. So it's like, hey, that transformation wasn't fan servicey. Oh, but this one is. And it's like, hey, they did that disability topic really well. They did it justice, and that they totally fucked up. Like it's constantly canceling out its own successes. So I have an opinion on this, but I want to let you finish out your thoughts, because this is something we can go into deep.
I don't necessarily want to put it in C tier, because I think Precure is a much more serviceable show. I think Milky Homes is a much more fun show, but I don't think it's like Racing Project. But then again, you gotta have a cutoff somewhere.
How about this? Yuki Yuna is an exception. Just right in the middle there.
I think that fits. I think it is a perfectly okay show that just needs a little tune up. Someone needs to take a screwdriver to it and tighten up some of the shit.
Yep.
All right. Revolutionary Girl Utena.
Yep.
We saw a couple more than one episode for this. I think we saw 3.
We might have only gone to 2 and then diverted.
We might got to 2. I liked it. I think I need to finish it. I think this is, if it wasn't so goddamn long, I'd say this would be our next one to finish.
We will get to it. Yeah. I think I'd rather show you some shorter Ikuhara shows before I get you through Utena.
Okay.
I have my mind made up on Utena. So what are you feeling?
I'm feeling B. I think from what I've gathered from the show, I think it is overall going to be an incredible experience. But boy, does it suffer from 90s anime syndrome, where you have a weirdly stupid, cutesy character. And I guess it is a magical girl show, and familiars are part of the whole shtick. But it's goofy when it doesn't feel like it needs to be goofy. I do love the character designs. I love the sword fighting. I think it should be B for now, but I feel like by the end of it, I'll say A or S. Okay. What do you think, Brantley?
I think it has some components that would pull it up towards S. I think mostly I view it as an A.
Okay.
It's one of those kinds of shows that it's like, Utena has done things that I've never seen anyone else do right. And so for that reason, I think it's exceptional. And in some cases, I absolutely agree with you that, like, hey, little tiny monkey mascot character kind of doesn't add anything. But I mostly view those as harmless. I don't see them quite
I mean, it's not bad.
because I've seen
it's
it
not
all.
bad.
So I'm going to ask that we put it in A tier.
I will agree with that. I also am aware of its influence.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I can look at it and assume that it has no redeeming value. I know this thing has made its waves.
Mm-hmm. So I'm making the long call on this, that you will turn around and make it an A tier eventually. So.
I'll believe you. Tokyo Mew Mew. I want to hear your thoughts on it, because I know where I want to put it.
Tokyo Mew Mew is a delight. But like not really, but like it is. Like it's not a guilty pleasure, because I feel no guilt whatsoever. It's not like a great show. It's hardly good, but it's so damn fun.
Yeah, I think it holds a nice place in our heart, because we watched it after we saw the first half of Magical Girl Sight. And that show doesn't get on this tier list. That show is garbage.
Yeah.
It's offensive. That show's offensive.
Yeah.
Tokyo Mew Mew is the opposite of offensive. It's super simple, super goofy. What's weird is I remember the dub more than the sub.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the character I remember Ichigo as the dub version.
Mm-hmm.
She was a little bit more fun.
Yeah. I still do get the theme song stuck in my head occasionally. The like the 4Kids dub version.
Yeah.
I think there's just enough of Tokyo Mew Mew that it has some substance, but it's not in the form of the actual show's content. It's like all the surrounding like fan content and like love and care towards it that just sort of makes it feel more deep. You know, the fact that you can go on the wiki and just explore that, and just like some really weird things that happen throughout the show, and like it's just kind of a minecart ride. I don't know.
Well, one of in our Tokyo Mew 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 Power episode, we got a comment from Hika Yagami, who apparently is one of the editors of they are very involved in the Tokyo Mew Mew fandom.
Mm-hmm.
And they were super nice. They were super chill. Their comment was really, really nice. And I checked out some of their works, and there's a lot of like fandom stuff on their YouTube channel. And you know what? Fuck it. I think Tokyo Mew Mew deserves a B, if not just because the people we've interacted from the fandom are just so nice, and it's just a happy show.
Yeah, we can talk about it extensively, and I can't say that about everything on here. You know, like Precure is also a kind of a monster of the week magical girl show, and as impressive as some of its combat can be, I don't feel like talking about it that much. Like, I'll enjoy it for myself, but I don't want to share it. I want to show people Tokyo Mew Mew.
One of the people I work with is incredibly into Tokyo Mew Mew, and the amount of stuff that you can just talk about it, it's a goofy fun show.
And it has like some personal weight because we had so many adventures with it. The wiki, for example, the whole maid cafe debacle. Did we ever get to the bottom of that? I don't remember.
Yes, I'm pretty sure Tokyo Mew Mew was the first time that a maid cafe was a thing.
God.
Incredible. As
far
as I
record,
can tell,
right? Like,
yes, the first maid cafe came out like 2 years after Tokyo Mew Mew.
Incredible.
And
here's the thing: I can't wait. If someone were to tell us wrong, then we'll finally know. But until then, we're just waiting to be proven wrong, and that's just a fucking exciting slingshot of adventure we're just sitting on.
Yes. All right. Flip Flappers. So we only watched one episode in our podcast time, but we both have seen the entirety of the show.
Mm-hmm.
as much as I love Flip Flappers, as much as I think that it is one of my favorite shows, I don't think I can put it at an S.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has too many issues regarding specific scenes. I think there's some things that aren't super necessary. I think it's gorgeous. I think it has a lot of fun stuff to it. And I can appreciate what it is, but I don't think it's an S. It's nowhere near where it's nowhere near the quality and thought provokingness of the other shows I think I'm gonna put at an S.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's A, but do you think it's A?
I don't, but I'm willing to put it there since we're leveraging Utena at an A.
But I want to hear. Do you think it's B then?
I do, but that's I really honestly need to give it a rewatch. I think some of the more problematic elements that I remember, I'm not going to budge on those. But things like the plot, I'm really willing to sort of, re-experience that and understand it better the next time. Yeah, so I'm willing to settle it in the A tier, and if, we could always run through the conditions of it, but like I feel like from the time period it's coming through at and the impact it's having, it's like I still think I can swing for this as an A, as being like an important show.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that if I were recommending it, then I would probably give a lot of asterisks. But
yes, I think that's what I do too. I think I look at Flip Flappers as a personal favorite of mine.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't mention it when I talk about my favorite anime of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it has a lot of good things for it, although, spoiler alert for a couple episodes away, I think a show we're currently watching is doing what Flip Flappers does better.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait to talk about that show.
Mm-hmm. Zombieland Saga, right?
No, but I am excited to talk about Zombieland Saga. Because Zombieland Saga is incredible. But, all right. Do we want to move on to Pucci Pre-UC?
Yeah.
I want to watch more of this show. Why haven't we watched more?
Because I don't know.
We're busy. I understand.
Yeah, and like, also, this show's tough because, like, I think it's well constructed. I think it's good. I think it has character to it in life. But I'm not that, like, thrilled to watch more for some reason. I'm okay coming back to it later. It's not an urgent thing.
Yeah, I want to watch more because I want to see where it goes, but it's never the first thing on my mind.
Yeah.
I always think of, we should watch this next, or we should, like, when we were watching Evangelion, and then we were watching Zombieland Saga, and we were watching all these shows, and how we're rewatching K-On! I never think of Pucci Pre-UC to go back to.
Yeah, it's a little milquetoast in comparison, I think, which is in its favor as like one of the extremely few Gainax shows that are actually solidly G-rated, So like props to that. Like that's one of the reasons why I want to go through and see it. But it just doesn't quite have the hook.
Yes.
More often than not, if someone were to be like, "Hey, do you want to watch Tokyo Mew Mew or Pucci Pre-UC?" I'm gonna say Mew Mew because Mew Mew is like a goof.
Yes.
And Yushi's just good, and I can always see that later. It's not going anywhere. Well,
Yushi's the only episode that we have that I haven't rewatched.
Yeah.
Or listened to. I feel like what we said wasn't really great. I think as an episode, it's fine in terms of what we looked at. But it was the last time that we did a watch-along, and I can tell that when we were doing it, we realized that the watch-alongs are a terrible idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if anything, it has that props to it, right? It helps us evolve a show. But also, like, with this competition, where so many of these have something just absolutely wild going on, Yushi just doesn't have, like, the like, what the fuck factor. Reasonably so, but as a result.
I would put it at a B or a C.
Yeah,
do you think?
I'm willing to, because I do think it's a stronger show than something like Precure. Although I may be more inclined to watch Precure over Yushi on any given day, I think Yushi deserves the B spot.
All right.
What do you think it would go before or after Tokyo Mew Mew?
I think it'd go. I think it'd go after Tokyo Mew Mew because I think the things that we like about UC being kind of G-rated, having some fun characters, Tokyo Mew Mew does that, and it's exciting.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Best Boy Cubics.
All right, yeah, our 3D animated shows, Cubics, Transformers Beast Wars, and Reboot. We watched a few episodes of each. Well, two episodes of Beast Wars, 3 of Cubics, and 1 of Reboot.
I think that wherever we're gonna put this is wrong because I think that the 3 shows that we watched were incredibly differing in quality. I will say that is one of my favorite episodes that we did.
Mm-hmm. I
really like talking and listening to the development of 3D animation. I also like talking about how Andrew Rannells is in Cubics and also is a Oscar award-winning Broadway star,
and also in Tokyo Mew Mew.
And also in Tokyo Mew Mew. I would put Cubics in. I think that Cubics is a D. I think that Reboot and Beast Wars are a C. But I would say average it out at a C. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think the episode is also was one of our it was our introduction to our new review style, and I appreciate Cubics for doing that. What do you think, Brandon?
Yeah. It's weird because I know these shows besides Cubics have a lot of serious love for them. Like Beast Wars and Reboot have people who are not nostalgic fans. They're long time insistent fans that will say this is still good. But what I find is that it's usually a lot of weight put on the story, and potentially the acting, and not a lot on the artistry of it, which is understood because these are, primitive 3D shows, which, again, if you really want to hear us the full detail on that, you can listen to the episode, but altogether, I'm willing to just put it at C and admit that I'm not a fan of these shows, and so I'm going to see them differently. We haven't seen all of it, so what we have seen is, sure, C.
C. Inspector. This is another toughie. I'm really excited for season 2. I think the character designs of Inspector really, really carry it. The characters of that show are great.
Mm-hmm.
I weirdly enjoy how dialogue heavy it is, even if it does seem exposition-y at times.
Mm-hmm.
I think it makes sense for the characters to discuss it. I've read a little bit of the manga recently too, and it's good. It's good.
Mm-hmm. I think this works in spite of its medium.
Yes, I agree. I don't think it works super well as an anime, but it does somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a B. I really enjoy Inspector. I'm really pumped for what it can be. I do know that the anime and the manga aren't necessarily... They're a little less story-driven later in the manga. And I don't know what they're doing for season 2, but I am happy it got a season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because the ending to it was concise, but you wanted a little bit more because you don't get to explore the world. I think the problem with season 1 is that we don't explore this very interesting world that they have. And I think this did.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of Inspector? Do you think B is a solid one too, or?
Because when we rate this, I was kind of shocked. We both gave it, I think, a 7. Which
yes.
Again, our number scales are not comprehensive. They can't really capture everything we feel about the show. And I feel like in the same sense that Inspector defies its own medium by being very speech heavy, but still interesting to watch. I think that although it's a 7, it actually feels like an 8 or a 9.
I updated my rating to an 8 because I know the overall rating for Inspector went down to a 6.99, and I just don't think it deserves that.
Yeah, it's the honorary, like it has, I think, what Raising Project does not, and that is the ability to make it work. When things honestly aren't going to line up well, and it's just like, well, we've got 3 episodes straight and the characters just have to stand in one place. They make it work somehow, and that's triumphant. And I have like a phantom A tier for this, but
yes,
overall I think it's a B.
I also can't recommend it to anyone.
Yes.
And,
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I can, but I would always preface it by saying, hey, they just talk to a snake man, for like 13 minutes.
Yeah.
But I think Kotoko is a great design. I love Kotoko so much.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I also like her and Kuro's relationship. I think it's fun. I think they obviously care about each other, but they throw shade at each other, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is one of my favorite anime relationships, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's that one. It's those types of things that make it linger in your head, and you're like, wow, I just want more of these characters.
And that's why I'm hoping season 2 is a little bit more animation heavy and more action sequenced.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not, I still probably enjoy it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Reivu Starlight.
Mm-hmm.
This show's good.
My only question here is whether or not it goes before or after Madoka. That's it.
My background on my computer is still Reivu Starlight. I changed it, and I never changed it back. This show is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot believe it was made as a multimedia work similar to that of Love Live.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of love and passion that went into this anime is something you don't see all the time. And it's beautiful. The music's incredible. The characters are fun. And rewatching it, we rewatched the first couple episodes with one of our friends. It has that similar thing with Madoka, where characters will mention stuff that you wouldn't notice. There are characters that react to other characters in ways that you don't get to see when you first watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, as a personal opinion, it goes before Madoka, but in terms for our podcast, it might.
Mm-hmm.
As a shared opinion.
Yeah, I can see that. It's weird. I feel like if you're not really giving it much attention, then Reivu Starlight will land at like a 7. It's like, well, that was fine. But if you give it a little bit of thought and you actually, watch what they're trying to do, and you're sort of open to that, then it's an entirely different thing. And I honestly can't explain it like any other way than that. You either you get it or you don't. And there's nothing wrong with either version of that, because you're probably still going to enjoy something out of it. But I don't know. It's weird because it's like I almost don't always feel like it deserves the 10 that I gave it. But then it's like I can't find a reason why it wouldn't.
You think of the scene where they're standing and talking to their younger friends' selves, and they're sitting in the audience at the same time, and then you're like, hell yeah, this show deserves a 10.
Yeah, remember that big fucking giraffe.
Dude, the giraffe sold me on this show. When there was a talking giraffe, I was immediately sold.
Kidding. Yep.
There's so much good to say about Reivu Starlight. If you haven't seen our episode of Reivu Starlight, go watch Reivu Starlight and then go listen to us.
Here's the thing. I greatly appreciate Madoka and all it does, but Reivu Starlight songs can make me cry on command. And that's why I want to put it up front.
for the sake of our podcast, we can put it up front because I think as a collective opinion, yes, but personally, Madoka's still my top. Pleiades.
That's so wistful.
what a show.
If there's any life left at Gynax, it was poured into this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it was one of Gynax's last shows they did. It exists, and I think it has some fun stuff, but man, what do you think about Pleiades? You talk about it a little bit more.
There's some people who just really want to make this show work, and sometimes they do. They accomplish that, but they don't have enough help to make it happen.
Wish Upon the Pleiades was Gynax's last show they made.
Yeah.
I think that the show would have been better if it was not sponsored by Subaru.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, honestly, they could just trim the fat a little bit, but like, it's weird because it's like Subaru really has almost nothing to do with Subaru. The company has almost nothing to do with the show, like to a shocking degree. Because I was thinking, like, yeah, if they did remove the elements, well, okay, the car brooms, and that's about it. But I get the feeling that there might have been some interference.
Yeah, I
of
feel
them
like
saying like, "Hey, dumb it down," or that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Wish Upon the Pleiades is a solid C with the asterisk that they tried really hard.
I'm gonna wager that it. Well, okay. Here's the real question: where do we place it on the C tier?
It's better than Yuki Yuna.
Yeah,
and I think it might be better than Precure and Milky Homes.
I agree.
I think it's our best C tier show.
Yeah,
and
it's like the definition of C tier.
It's very mediocre. It has some good parts, and they kind of went hard on the ending. The ending was real. I forgot that the ending had to do with multiverse and losing your friends.
The concept of standing there and watching time spin itself back into place is metal.
Yeah, this show sticked the landing so fucking hard. I wish it leaned a little bit more into those surreal, overarching space themes that they kind of hinted at with black holes and reality warping and stuff. Fuck. Yeah. C tier, but man, does it have some good shit. Thinking back on it, I remember there's the part where they kind of delved into the speed of relativity. That was really good. And their friend missed all of their bonding. Man.
This
shit,
show
dude.
owns the C tier.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Brantley.
Decadence
has gotta be an S for me, man.
That
show was so shockingly good.
Yep. I remember the first 3 episodes. I was a little grumpy. I was like, I don't like where this is going. I don't have a good feeling about this. And it proved me wrong.
How a show talks about the dangers and exploitation of capitalism in the prison society using little robots that look like beans is quite honestly one of the most bold anime choices I've ever seen. And they don't wait for it either. They advertise this show as a post-apocalyptic Attack on Titan-esque monster fighting show, and immediately, episode 2, they're like, fuck it, you're watching some weird robot thing. And I can see why people dropped this. I remember I dropped it by myself after episode 2.
I almost asked us if we could quit it if episode 3 wasn't going to be good. I'm glad I chose against that.
This show, the Good Morning Boss scene at the end, when Kaburagi fuses with Decadence, is incredible.
Yeah,
it's so good, and this is the show that people tell you not to make because it doesn't have a widespread appeal. You have to see it through. But boy, is it a journey. And it's packed. There is not a single episode that doesn't have anything to do, that doesn't have any purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, Decadence. It is so good.
Hey, if you're listening right now and you consider yourself a fan of Attack on Titan, drop that shit. Go watch Decadence. You finished it? You finished Attack on Titan? Yeah, here's your L. I'm sorry, but you can still go watch Decadence.
Decadence is insanely good. All right.
You know what else is insanely good?
Not Burn the Witch.
Not Burn the Witch.
I don't know what I thought about what I thought about this show going into it. We did watch it with quite a few people because it is only 3 episodes and it has some pretty good animation. I'll give it that.
That's all I can give it.
That's all I can give it to. It has some good music, but it is not interesting. It's somehow so confusing. You're not even asking.
It's
That's
less
exactly
vulgar than Raising Project.
I think there's something to say about a show that I can't remember anything of it, and it was only an hour and a half long.
That's the kind of thing when you're like a child, you know, and you watch a movie and like it was like some straight to DVD thing, and you're like a teenager and you're looking through your house and you're looking through your cabinets, and you're like, oh wow, I watched this.
What the fuck is this? It is like that. It's mind-boggling.
It's like when you can't remember what parts were in what Pokemon movie.
Yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
I like the part in the Pokemon movie where he gets to meet young Professor Oak. Sorry, spoilers for the Pokemon movies, I guess. But he's like, I like the part where they meet young Professor Oak in the second one. And you're like, no, that was the Celebi movie. Well, yeah, but wait, then what number was that? It's like 4? Well, no, wasn't 4 the one with Latios and Lanias? No, that's Pokemon Forever is not the... Is it the 4th? Hold on. And you go on this dive to figure out. That's what Burn the Witch is. It's so much hassle.
I pored over the Burn the Witch wiki to try and figure out what the fuck happened in that movie. And I don't think the people that wrote the movie know what the fuck happened in that movie.
Mm-hmm. There is such a thing as playing it loose so that people can make interpretations, and that just is not this show. It just doesn't work.
Nope. Hey, Bradley. I
hear the Shamisen.
love Giviate.
I know you do.
I don't, but I get so excited to talk about Giviate every single time that someone asks about it. I get pumped. This show is the perfect mess. It is the absolute golden pedestal of shit.
You know what?
Everything about this show is wrong. and that makes it better than so many other shows.
Oh my god. You know what's great? So much of your professional life has trained you for like teaching and entertainment careers. Essentially, you're kind of a communications guy, right? You are about taking info from you and putting it into other people. And in the meantime, you're just retaining a lot of information. Like in our episodes where we would watch a show live and commentate, you always remember the details better than I do. Gibiate is your fucking like pyramid scheme.
It's so
you
good,
can
dude.
sell this show so hard, and I love that.
It's awful. Okay, so think of The Room or Troll 2 or Birdemic, right? All these awful, terrible movies,
Mm-hmm.
but they have heart, not in a good place. But there's something about there's passion behind Gibiate, and probably a money laundering scheme as well. But the fact that they got a swordsmith, the fact that the opening is a banger, the fact that they have all this shit that went into it, and the final product is one of the worst produced anime I've ever seen is incredible. It is the perfect shitstorm of failure, and I love it.
It's an achievement.
It is. It is. And I can't put it in F tier. I can't. Because I can't do it, man. I think about
Pull the trigger.
What? Okay. If it is
Grant
an F tier,
drops the pistol.
If it is an F tier, it is the best F tier because this show has so much not going for it that it loops around and has something going for it.
I agree with you, but here's what I want to suggest. If it has to be the most legendary, and for that reason it can't be anything other than F tier.
You're right. It cannot be put in D tier
because then it just makes it something else.
Yes.
It has to be exceptional.
It is F tier, but it is the most exceptional F tier I've ever seen.
Just like Pleiades is the C, Gibieto is the F tier. This is what F tiers strive for.
Yes, and it needs the heart. Mm-hmm. Now we're gonna talk about another F tier. I think Elena might not be F tier. I think Elena is one of our most viewed episodes. I posted it on Reddit and I think it had a 50% downvote number, but it had 1. Yeah. But it went from, at one point it had 6. So people saw it and they upvoted it and they downvoted it.
Yeah.
This show is not good, but it has good things about it. The first episode of this show is incredible. I cannot stress that enough. But going back and watching some of the clips for it and seeing people talk about how it's so well crafted and how it made them feel things made me hate the show even more.
I agree.
I think Elena's so fucking shallow as a show. Yeah, it tries to do dark, it tries to do humorous, and it never fits them in a way that actually makes you enjoy the show, or at least me.
Mm-hmm. For someone's first thing they've ever done, awesome. I'm glad you got the experience. But your world traveling is over. What did you learn?
Nothing.
Yeah.
And they hinted at a season 2 where they talk about something that might make it better. But why the fuck is if season 2 was better, if they do a season 2, because they definitely want to do a season 2 with that ending.
Mm-hmm. They put a stinger on it.
Yeah. If season 2 is way better, then season 1 should have been shorter, and season 2 should have started 4 episodes into season 1, because holy shit, are 90% of Elena's episodes either terrible or useless.
Yep.
Elena's a D.
Yep. But where?
I gotta give it a D. It would be an F if that first episode wasn't such a banger.
Yeah. Where does it go though?
It's better than Magical Girl Raising Project, but I was not as angry at Burn the Witch as I was at Elena.
Yeah. Elena. Yeah, Danganronpa.
You had something to say about Elena.
No, that was just it. Elena hurts more.
Yeah, it hurts.
It's insult to injury. At least with Burn the Witch, we had no setup. You know.
Yeah.
We were
Burn the
ready
Witch
for
was
it.
bad all the way through. Elena made you think it was.
Burn the Witch. As soon as you hear the words from the creators of Bleach, you can set your expectations on that. You know.
Yes. So what do you think of? This is going to be a tough one. Because the anime is separate to the game, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
and our episode on Danganronpa was about the animation and the game itself.
Mm-hmm.
The animation's not good. It's serviceable, but it misses everything that makes the games charming.
Mm-hmm.
But it's shorter.
Mm-hmm. It is your Danganronpa Spark Notes. That's about the nicest thing I can say about it.
I actually think that Danganronpa would deserve a spot in B tier as a video game. I think the story is weirdly good, and I think the characters are charming. I just don't think that's captured as well in the animation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Hey, let's spell Danganronpa. D.
What, you think it's D? Or O?
D. I'm gonna
say
D.
I don't think it deserves to be in C because the animation is boring.
Mm-hmm.
The animation is not exciting, not charming. There's not much to it, and you get all the worst parts about the game in the anime.
Yeah. Would you want to put it before or after Elena?
It's closer to the top than Elena. Not taking the games into account.
Mm-hmm.
And Princess Tutu.
Princess Tutu.
I was bored with Princess Tutu for the longest time. And then it got really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I've seen this all twice, so I want you to carry this.
So, watching the start of Princess Tutu, I kind of felt like it was not fully complete. The first half of it is fine. Probably, it's in the same vein that Mew Mew is, in my opinion. I think that it's fine. It's simple. It has, it's a little shallow. But boy, did season 2 carry it. I think that Tutu made me a lot more emotional than I thought it would, and it did things. It went places that I didn't think it was needed to go, but it did. I think Tutu's an A.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree. But where?
I think that. I think, in my opinion, I enjoyed it less than Flip Flappers, but I think as a podcast, we had put it in front of Flip Flappers as a collective.
Okay.
I think that it did things that no anime did in 2002, and no anime I've really done before. I know we talk about it a lot in our review, but the fact that you can barely tell if it's a shonen or a shoujo is really good for that show.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Do you have anything else to say about Tutu?
I think I've said it already in our episodes and whatnot.
Yeah, and this one was one of our most recent one too.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't feel
fresh.
Nearly as I don't feel the need to go over it again for myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's strong. It's hard to recommend, but this is a list about our perceived quality. It's got problematic things in it. It's got, extreme high points. It has some boring bits, but somehow when it rounds out, I'm still impressed by it. And so,
yeah, man. That last shot really is just so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, out of all the anime we watched this year, this is, I think, a pretty concise list of our opinions. But now, Brantley and I have prepared each other awards to give to specific shows.
Yeah, we're going to do a lightning round, like an award ceremony, sort of.
All right. Brantley, what is This Is Your Shit?
This is my shit.
This is my shit award. Basically, we've talked about this before, but This Is My Shit is something that we agree is bad, but you can't help but love it.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, is Gibiate my shit. I have to give Gibiate that award.
Uh-huh.
It's the only episode that we have below C that I would love to talk about more.
Yeah. It's difficult because, like, Mew Mew is that, but we've ranked Mew Mew pretty high.
But it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, right?
Yeah.
Because Mew Mew's not a masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think Mew Mew is fine as it is.
Yeah.
But you would never give it another award.
So I would give the award to Mew Mew. Runner up would be Milky Holmes, strictly because I'd be ashamed to recommend it.
Fair. So we'll give Mew Mew for Brantley and Gibiate for Grant.
You know what I should do? I should, since we're still live on this, I should make a little, like, award here. You're going to get to see, okay, Brantley's going to do some real-time graphic design, and without trying to pull up any of the editor windows for Illustrator. By the way, because we had to dunk on TierMaker, I'll also dunk on Adobe. Fuck Adobe. I hate paying for your shit. For everyone who's like, you don't pay for it. Yeah, I know.
I don't think anyone would know that you didn't pay for it.
Yeah, I know, but also I'm bad at things. So there. Okay, let me make this little, like, trophy thing going on here. Okay. Shrink that down. I'm spending way too much time on this. And I don't remember the hotkey to combine those, so whatever. We're just going to group this.
That's it. I will say it is incredible that you were able to make a thing that looks like a trophy in less than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Out of using nothing but hotkeys.
Yeah. Okay. Trophy.
Okay.
Trophy.
Good job to the award winners. What's one of your awards?
Okay. I was just gonna say, like, want to continue.
Okay. I have two. I want to continue Utena for, hey, this show's probably incredible and we need to watch it. But I also want to continue Battle Girl High School because I want to talk shit about it.
Mm-hmm. So who gets the crown?
I think it's got to go to Utena. I don't think Battle Girl High School deserves anything.
Rude, but agreed. Okay.
I have best character of this year for us.
Hold on, I need to make my vote. What do I want to watch
that's
more
right.
Of? It's between Precure and Milky Holmes. Milky Holmes is shorter. I gotta admit to myself, I kind of want to watch more Milky Holmes.
I would be down to finish Milky Holmes. I kind of want to watch its self-awareness a little bit more too, because it's wild.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, what's your next question? Sorry.
Best character of the season. So I know that a couple of my favorite characters actually exist in some of these shows. Mm-hmm. But which show had a character that stood out to you enough to make you think about them a lot?
I think, it's Cubics. It's just, just reliable eyes, broad shoulders, strong jaw, birthing hips. I think it's got to be Inspector.
Who's your character from it?
Kotoko.
Kotoko? Yeah. Give us some praise for her amazingness, because I do love Kotoko a lot too.
Love that outfit. Fun hat. Fun time. But also, she's, a disability rep done well. And I'd say the same vein as, like, Fullmetal Alchemist. She's the right combination of, like, young and bratty, but also competent. That makes her really fun to watch. I think that she's what most anime girl characters kind of are trying to be, where it's like they're kind of annoying, but that's also charming. Kotoko is what happens when that actually gets humanized.
I would agree. I think that Kotoko's really good. However, she doesn't get my award.
Who does?
Gotta go to Kaburagi.
Kaburagi. Man. I knew it.
I love mentor characters. I think
Is he your Uwu small bean?
No.
Sorry.
Yes. But I think a lot of shows and anime, the mentor character is either creepy, abusive, or just overall a mean person, right? Mm-hmm. And it's always shown as tough love, but it's never really love. It's just tough and being annoying and mean. Kaburagi is such a good mentor to, cut this out. I can't remember her name. You don't need to cut this out.
I'm not gonna cut it out.
Natsume. Fuck. I knew
okay.
the name was in my head. I knew it started with an N.
Listen, man, they barely
Kaburagi,
put her in the promo art. You can't be blamed for that.
They do.
It's been a while since we've seen her too.
I love Natsume. I really like her design. I like how peppy and happy she is and competent she is as well. But I cannot get past how well they've created a character that is... He genuinely cares about her, and in not a creepy way. And I love his bean form. I love how much he cares about everyone he works with. I love Kaburagi so much.
Mm-hmm.
What is this?
Sorry, I'm just trying to enhance the negative space on screen. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
All right, so what's your next award?
Okay, my next award is Better Than Expected. What are you feeling?
I have to give it to Decadence.
Decadence?
I really do.
Right.
As much as I sing praises to Decadence, I was not expecting it to be such an impactful show to me.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of thought you can talk about it, the amount of themes it has, the characters are all good. It is an entirely shocking show from start to finish, and I think that it is better than I could have ever thought.
Yeah, I would agree with you, but I have to give the award somewhere else. Not that I have to, but I want to. I want to actually give it over to Cubics.
Really?
Yeah. Because here's the thing, in some sense, when I can look at something like Decadence and agree that these production values indicate they cared a lot. There was a lot on the line, so they're going to work hard to make sure it works out, etc. But I had no expectations for Cubics. And I kind of liked it. And really, that goes for all those shows. Beast Wars surprised me with how they went, episode 1 to 2 into a resource war. And essentially turned it into a war of attrition. Sure, I'm in for that. Reboot is weirdly dark for a 3D animated kids show that also doesn't really know how to control its own humor tone. But, those shows do something right, and I would not have expected that. So I gotta hand it over.
That's a good reasoning.
All right.
My next award.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Worst character of the year.
Worst character.
The absolute most atrocious character of the year. I have a couple that I want to talk about, but do you have a de facto worst character of the year?
Of course I do. Swim. What the hell happened there, right?
Yes. Swim was one of the characters. Not a character. She was created for shock value.
Mm-hmm.
A 8-year-old murderous mastermind who doesn't have any plot relevance outside that she's killing people.
Mm-hmm.
Truly a terrible character.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything to say? Any more to say about Swim?
I don't want to. I really don't.
Oh, fair. Okay, so I want to give this award to some. There's two people that I'm jumping behind. Elena's one of them.
Mm-hmm. I
don't think she gets it because she has some charming qualities. And I think my hatred for Elena comes more from the show as a whole. I don't like how inconsistent she's written. I don't like how she is a nothing character for 90% of the show.
Mm-hmm.
She cries once, and that's the only emotion we see from her besides smugness. But it's gotta go to Neko Senpai from Princess Tutu.
Oh,
I hate that character so much. He has one scene throughout the entire show where he does something that is not a joke. And anytime that he is a joke character, it's the same fucking joke every single time. Fuck Neko Senpai. I'm gonna kick his ass.
You do that.
Alright, what's your next one?
So, my next award is It Gets Better. Or alternatively, just stick with it.
I gotta give it to Pleiades, man.
I'm so happy you said that.
I think that
because I also think that.
the fact that Pleiades goes so hard on the ending
mm-hmm.
and it does so much with so little really shows how much there is love behind this show.
Mm-hmm.
It's not great, but that ending makes it all worth it.
Yep.
And honestly, if you're gonna watch Pleiades, you gotta stick it out. It's gotta be Pleiades.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I have an interesting one. Best art direction. So I know that art is subjective, and I know that there's a lot of things that these shows do that kind of change the way you look at them, and it doesn't necessarily need to be the best animated.
Mm-hmm.
But which one has the best art direction in terms of what it wants to do?
That's a thinker. Wow. I need to almost start knocking down some options. Do you have one in mind already?
I do. And I gotta give it to Ravy's Starlight.
Mm-hmm.
I think adding, it does have gorgeous animation, yes, but I love the imagery. I love the stage design. I love all the stuff they do to push forth this performance that it is. I think that Ravy's Starlight leaning heavy into that stage performance is such a good choice that makes that show so much more special because of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I could go either way on this. I could say that, but like there's something about the character faces that feel a little. If there was one thing that would turn me off of this show, it would be like the character face designs. For some reason, there's just something about them that screams generic anime to me.
Yes, that's fair.
And that makes it rough because I don't know, for some reason that means a lot to me. But I agree that like everything surrounding it is impeccable and well thought out. I remember when we were watching the first episode of Revue Starlight. No, the second, and it's the fight with Jun-chan. They give her like what feels like a 7-second backstory dump through like visual metaphor, and I swear, like as we were watching it, I just like gasped audibly because it's like they did. Oh, like, I don't know if you heard me when I did that, but I
yes, I remember.
did. I think I'm gonna give this to Matoka. I think that so much of that show is just gorgeous. For TV anime especially, I know, like, you can pick out, like, oh, look, the characters are in the background, they got little weird squishy faces. Like, that's just literally how that happens. Like, you don't see detail that well at a distance. But additionally, Madoka has this, like, reverence for its tone setting and its staging, that I don't see often elsewhere. Because so many other shows have to worry about getting the plot through fast enough, or they think that if they don't just get it done, that people won't care. Madoka's the kind of show that I can't think of many times where it's just someone's face in the shot and they're just flapping their mouth. There's always something staged. And this even extends to a show we'll eventually cover, which is Magia Record. If that show, being the gacha spin-off of Madoka Magica, still can hit those moments, I think it says something about the competence of Madoka's art direction. And maybe it also has to do with the fact that I love Hidamari sketch. And so knowing that same art, like the same facial styles, can be applied in this kind of show and succeed, they knocked it out of the park. They had to have.
See, I'm glad that you picked Madoka because I also wanted to pick Madoka, but I can't because I talk about it, and I also wanted to praise Review Starlight.
So there, we had a little, we have our runner-up and our first place agreed. We just swapped places,
yes.
So everyone wins.
Absolutely. All right, what's your next award?
This is the You Tried Award. A little sticker to stick on there, and it already doesn't really stick on well. It's kind of peeling off at the corner, and it'll probably fall off by tomorrow.
You Tried Award.
You want me to give you some time?
Do you have an answer?
I do. And it's Raising Project.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because you remember, there were things like La Pucelle that you were just like, oh my god, maybe this will be interesting. Maybe they'll do something right.
I mean, we liked the first episode.
Yeah. Like, the writing was on the wall. The first thing that happens in that show is a body pile. But still, I can...
You know what?
I think that if someone were to redo this, and I don't mean the same person redoing it with the light novels, like, I don't mean that. I think if someone else had to be given those elements and they were told, hey, fix this, I think someone could. We did, basically. Like, we were doing that the whole time we were watching the show. Is where we were like, well, see, if the candy system doesn't really work, but if you just change this element, where you don't include that, or you don't revert this, then honestly, you can make this work. Now, this character has to motivate. We were, like, rewriting this show on the fly. So, they did something.
You're right. You know what? Talking about that, my You Tried's gotta go to Elena then.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about Elena that you do feel at Raising Project. I think there's a lot of good in it.
Yep.
And it's just not taken seriously enough.
Elena was my runner-up.
Yep.
That first episode
it's incredible. Mm-hmm. It is honestly a insanely good 30 minutes of television.
It is a different show.
Yes, it is. All right. My next question. Now, this one might be a little hard because I don't know how long it's been since you've listened to this or listened to any of these. But what was the best opening out of these 20 shows we've seen? I know what you want to give it to.
Yeah, you know what? Okay. I probably need to give two answers on this.
Okay.
So my immediate thought is it has to go to Precure.
Okay.
Because it's such a bop. It's a pretty cute, you know. Mayumi Gojo, just love it. Absolutely love it. And everything else that she does too, pretty much I enjoy it too. Some stuff she's done for Oja Majo Do Re Mi and etc. But like also I admitted earlier that the Mew Mew opening theme dubbed is pretty catchy. But that's kind of a, you know, it was stuck in my head legitimately, but it's also kind of a joke. Outside of that, I don't know that I could, weirdly enough, from this set of shows, I don't really have one that sticks out as like an opening I would choose to re-listen to on a rainy day.
I think my answer might change that.
You know what? Let's hear it.
It's gotta be Elena.
Oh, you're right. Actually, yes. Yeah, correct. Elena does have a really strong opening in it.
What's wild to me about the Elena show, I have almost no emotional attachment to the show as a whole, but listening to the opening and watching the opening animation makes me feel so nostalgic for whatever this show's trying to be.
Yeah.
The rainy like parts where she's hiding under the awning waiting for it to go off, to stop raining, the music beats where it pauses and you see her doing something very, very calming. It is an incredible opening in terms of music and in terms of visuals. It is the best part of that show, and I wish that if this show was any better, it might be one of my favorite anime openings of all time. Yeah.
It's one of those openings that makes you think, maybe this one will be better.
Yeah.
Hey, runner up.
There were times.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. We'll finish this thought. Sorry.
Yeah, there were times where I was watching Elena. I'm like, I gotta listen to the opening because I don't care about this next episode, but I gotta think there's some sort of art direction here, and that opening does it every single time.
Yeah. Runner up, Gibieto.
Yeah, I was also gonna say that too. I gotta say that the Shimisan brothers that did it.
Shamisen Bros, where you at?
They killed it. That is such a good song. And if it was in any other action anime with a competently animated opening, it would be hype as hell. Hype as hell.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Brantley.
Here's my last award. This award is for most. Just most. Which of these 20 shows was the most?
I have a couple answers depending on what you're thinking.
Okay.
Gibieto is the most. There's just so much behind it, and it's better the more you look into it. In terms of most, Revue Starlight has so much impact on me. I think about it a lot. I'll re-listen to the OST, and I'll remember the fight scenes, and I'll remember the emotion behind it. It has a lot of plot for only being 12 episodes long. So I guess it depends on what you mean.
What does your heart say?
Revue Starlight. I just that show. I want to give it better than expected. But I kind of expected it to be good from the get-go, and if I had the best anime that I watched this year, it would go to Revue Starlight. It's the most. What's your most?
I think I have to say Decadence.
Yeah?
Yeah, like, because they did it. Like, they perfectly landing, through serendipity into the year of 2020 with a full-on committed exemplar of, like, an agrarian functioning society separate of capitalism. And preceding that essentially did whatever they could to just like bat down all these other mailboxes along the way, right? They're just driving by and just like, boom, prison system, boom, it's just like animal cruelty, just like one after another. They're just like, knocking down these mailboxes. Like, so I would never recommend that someone make a show with that kind of script.
Yep.
I would have said focus on one of these things, but no, they just went all out, and it happened to be extremely relevant. And they did it well too. I kept worrying, like, oh, they're gonna slip on something, like they're just gonna reinvent capitalism or something, or maybe this plot element will get left behind. No, they pretty much resolved it.
It is weirdly concise, and I do not think that it needs any more. I think the ending is perfect to that show.
Mm-hmm. Yep. If I had to give a runner-up, I would say Utena. Because Utena goes places, but we haven't finished it, so I'd like to maybe save that for later.
All right.
Yeah. Look at those awards.
We did it. We created a tier list, and we talked about anime we liked. Deca did it. I think that this has been an overall positive experience. I know that we're not hella popular in terms of subscribers or viewerships, but there is something exciting about being able to talk about anime for an hour and a half every week or every couple weeks that really just makes the time go by. So here's to the rest of familiar territory. Here's to a new year of anime.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Do you have any finishing thoughts?
None. I think we said about as much as we could say, or as much as people could take.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to our incredibly arbitrary tier list. If you liked what you heard, if you have disagreements, if you have agreements, feel free to comment. If you want to hear more of our inane ramblings about anime, feel free to subscribe. Or don't. We are not your dads.